Ich hab die Karatons zugestellt. Brauchst du noch irgendwas? Ich glaube nicht. Das ist gut, danke. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Vishnu Pad Paramangsa Pariva Chakachaya Stotra Shata Shri Srimad Abhayacharana Ravina Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Who understands no German? One? Who understands no German? 3 people? Okay, yeah. 4. Wer versteht kein Englisch? But anyway, you have to translate into Russian, right? Okay. So then, yeah, we will speak English anyway. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, we welcome all the great souls who have assembled to attend the Srimad Bhagavatam. Yes, and from the very beginning I want to ask the blessings of everyone, because without your blessings not so much can be conveyed. We depend on mutual well wishes. So, yes, without your well wishes I cannot function as a medium for anything. And I hope that all of you have come here to learn something, to gain something, and so I need your blessings that I can function as a medium for the messages of Krishna and Srila Prabhupada, who are trying to speak to us and who are trying to tell something to us, including to the speaker. So let us chant the verse. This is from the 3rd canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, which is called Status Quo, and we are reading from chapter 25, which is called The Glories of Devotional Service, and we are reading text 33. Okay. Jarayati Ashu Ya Kosham Jarayatyasu Ya Kosham Jarayatyasu Ya Kosham Nigirnam Analo Yata Nigirnam Analo Yata Nigirnam Analo Yata Jarayatyasu Ya Kosham Nigirnam Analo Yata. Prabhus? Vaishnavis? Okay. Charayati means dissolves. Ashu, quickly. Ya, which. Kosham, the subtle body. Nigirnam, things eaten. Analaha, fire. Yata, as. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. So this is a continuation from what Kapila Muni, Yes, Kapila Muni. The incarnation of God himself is speaking to his mother. He became the son of a woman of this world, although a very extraordinary woman, Mother Devahuti, and she was a great devotee of the Lord already, and he became her son. And he's in this section of Bhagavatam, she has inquired from him about how to become liberated from matter. How to become liberated from matter. And that is one essential topic, therefore, of this verse. Because this verse, it relates to the response which Kapila Muni is giving to his mother. He's telling her about the topic of liberation from matter. So, translation. What is Kapila Muni saying here? Bhakti, devotional service, dissolves the subtle body of the living entity without separate effort, just as fire in the stomach digests all that we eat. Now we read the purport by Srila Prabhupada. Bhakti is in a far higher position than mukti. Bhakti means devotional service. Mukti means liberation. Because a person's endeavor to get liberation from the material engagement, so a person's endeavor to get liberation from the material engagement is automatically served in devotional service. The example is given here that the fire in the stomach can digest whatever we eat. If the digestive power is sufficient, then whatever we can eat will be digested by the fire in the stomach. Similarly, a devotee does not have to try separately to attain liberation. That very service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the process of his liberation. One more time. That very service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the process of his liberation, because to engage oneself in the service of the Lord is to liberate oneself from material entanglement. Sri Bilvamangala Thakur explained this position very nicely. He said, if I have unflinching devotion unto the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, then mukti, or liberation, serves me as my maidservant. Mukti, the maidservant, is always ready to do whatever I ask. For a devotee, liberation is no problem at all. Liberation takes place without separate endeavor. Bhakti, therefore, is far better than mukti, or the impersonalist position. The impersonalists, which means those who do not accept that ultimately the truth is a person, that God as an eternal personality exists, they are called impersonalists. So they undergo severe penances and austerities to attain mukti, liberation. But the bhakta, simply by engaging himself in the bhakti process, especially in the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, immediately develops control over the tongue by engaging it in chanting and accepting the remnants of foodstuff offered to the personality of Godhead. As soon as the tongue is controlled, naturally all other senses are controlled automatically. Sense control is the perfection of the yoga principle. Sense control is the perfection of the yoga principle. And one's liberation begins immediately as soon as he engages himself in the service of the Lord. It is confirmed by Kapila Deva that bhakti or devotional service is gariyasi, more glorious than siddhi, liberation. These two Sanskrit words are from the previous verse. Agyana timirandasya ganandala shalakaya chakshurun militangena tasmai shri gurave namaha. Namaong Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Sarasvati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We read one more time the verse. Jarayat yashu yakushang nigirnam analo yata. Bhakti, devotional service, dissolves the subtle body of the living entity without separate effort, just as fire in the stomach digests all that we eat. Okay, Hare Krishna. So, directly on the verse, there is one thing we remember, which our Diksha Guru is often quoting from one of our Acharyas, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who says that when we chant Hare Krishna, that it dissolves the subtle body. And basically that means it dissolves our mental activities, our thinking, our feeling, and our willing. And then one may wonder, but if my inner life is becoming dissolved, because that is, we identify with our thoughts, with our emotions, with our feelings, then we will be afraid to give them up, because we think that this is what I am, who I am. But the chanting, it dissolves not only this devotional service, it does not only dissolve the subtle body, it also awakens the spiritual body. And this is our real inner life. Actually, what we think is our inner life in the material concept is also external. It is not us. It is not us. Like the material mind is a voice which is telling, I want food, I want sex life, I want to go to the cinema, I want ice cream, I want this, I want that. And if we think that this is our internal existence, then we accept that this is me, I want. But actually we don't want. Actually the mind is going after those things. And because we follow this mind, therefore we follow those ideas. But actually, this is just a part of Krishna's external energy. And we are not a part of Krishna's external energy. We are a part of Krishna's internal energy. And thus, like a fish in the water, a fish is happy in its natural environment, in the water. If you put the fish on the land, he will not be happy. He will die. So in the same way, the spiritual living entity wants to be in the spiritual energy, in the spiritual environment. And in that spiritual environment, the living entity will be happy. And if the living entity goes into a different environment, a material environment, then it will be unhappy. And that is our misfortune, that all of us have decided to long ago, unlimited time ago, we have decided to enter this material realm, which is our suffering, problem, and disconnection from ourselves. So, and this is the wonderful thing about the chanting of Hare Krishna. It will it will just blow out, like when you blow out a candle. It doesn't take so much effort. So when you chant Hare Krishna, you invite Krishna in the form of his name. You invite him to just blow out blow out this candle of your material conception of life. And all those ideas, I am this, I am that, I want this, I want that, all that is just blown out by the holy name if we chant nicely. And then our natural spiritual existence will awaken with full force, and we will experience the real happiness, which is sustained by our actual liberation and also by our clarity of consciousness, clear consciousness. Krishna, the original spiritual living entity, his form is described as Sat Chit Ananda. He is eternal, he is full of knowledge, clarity, consciousness, and bliss, happiness, unlimited happiness. And all of us, who, when we come to the place or the state of Krishna, that same state of existence, then we also experience this eternal existence and clarity and happiness. So, yes, Srila Prabhupada is explaining this here. The chanting of Hare Krishna, the Maha Mantra, that is what elevates us. And there is no separate effort needed to become liberated. So, and then Devahuti, in the Bhagavatam here, Mother Devahuti, is in a very exalted position because she has become one-pointed that I want this liberation. It is natural for us who identify with this material energy that we are not so secure about it, and we may take to devotional service, we may take to the chanting of Hare Krishna, but if we have a material background, then we will have some doubt, some hesitation, and we will not be one-pointed. We will still identify very much with the many small things which we want. And thus we may not be so one-pointed yet. Especially when we are young, then we are still under a strong impression that material life works. But over time that impression will fade out very, we can rest assured of that. So we may not be so fixed up in this understanding that we want to become liberated from the material energy, and that includes myself, but still, because we engage in the practice, we have so many experiences, practical experiences, and I want to ask you that, okay, we may not understand that we want to be fully liberated, but maybe some of you have some ideas. What is worth being liberated from? Maybe you have some spontaneous thoughts. You can just raise your hand and speak up. What should we become liberated from? Do you have any idea? Like spontaneously, what would be nice if I would have liberation from this? Illness, yes, disease. We want to be free from disease. I was also a little ill last days, and it was not pleasant. Like the mind is dull, we cannot think very quick, the body is weak, and everything is a pain. And yes, it is not nice to be ill, handicapped. What else? Doubts. Yes. Yes. The so-called internal life. There are doubts. Something more. Doubts. Disease. Yes. Fear. Very, yeah. Macht nichts. Yes, fear. Very big thing. Something more? Okay. So, yes. One is gross, disease, which you mentioned. Two are subtle, doubt, fear. And before I would like to respond to this also, but before I would like to share one more thought, which is that here Srila Prabhupada is elaborating that mukti is very easily available through the process of bhakti. So this sense of liberation from anything that bothers us, it is very easily attainable by a devotional service. And one consideration which came to my mind is that, yes, because that is the beginning of transcendence, and devotional service is purely transcendental. So also in the nectar of devotion, we have a description of 6 things which are attained when we engage in pure devotional service. And in that context, it is called kleshagni, the how to say in English, it's the destruction of all suffering. That is the first thing which you get from pure devotional service. It is the first thing which you get. So the first thing which you get when you engage in pure devotional service is kleshagni. There's no more material suffering. and yes, I'm sure all of us have experienced this sometimes. Otherwise, why would we be so faithful? And why would we take up this process with our whole life? Why would we chant 16 rounds every day? Why would we wake up so early? Why would we be strict about taking bath regularly? And so many things we do and also don't do in devotional service. And also related to the chanting, I can say that so many times we have Guru Puja Kirtan and we offer our obeisances after we sing, like there was such a nice kirtan also now, and everyone is singing and dancing, and then we lie down and we speak Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramahansa, and Jai Srila Prabhupada, and Jai Vrindavan, and Jai Tulsi Devi, and etc. Ki Jai. And then we speak the pranam mantras. And when I lie there and speak the pranam mantras to my spiritual master and to Srila Prabhupada, by that time I just feel so light. I just feel like I could, if nobody picks me up, I could just lie there for the next, 20 minutes and be very happy. So this is devotional service, and we experience that practically. And so that is the first thing. And then when you get the first thing, we should understand that the first thing is only the beginning. So it's not yet the best. There's more to come. So, and there's more to come. And we want to give some small, nice quotation of Srila Prabhupada later about this. So the last thing which we get from devotional service, that we will speak in the end. So yes, I would like to speak a little more about how devotional service, it liberates us from even the small things, the so-called small things in everyday life, and in principle then becomes big things, like doubt is a principle, fear is a principle, but then that principle is manifests in different ways in this world. And in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is speaking to Arjuna also, and he's saying that he's speaking about persons who have accepted devotional service and who have attained success. And interestingly, the verse again, it starts with vita. Vita means free from. So that also relates to liberation. And then he says, Raga, Bhaya, Krodha. Raga means attachment. Attachment. And in a more broader sense, it's very closely related to lust. And lust is also considered by Krishna the main problem of this material world. And ultimately, all negativity is related to lust. It goes together. So raga is attachment. And we would like to share a few stories from our teachers and great personalities in our line who have demonstrated this complete fearlessness and freedom from sexual attraction or other kinds of attraction. So first, I would like to go with this attraction or lust. And one narration is from Srila Haridas Thakur, who is called Arnam Acharya. Why? Acharya means teacher by example. And he was teaching by his example that this chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra is very nice because he would chant 300,000 names every day, which means we count rounds in this tradition, right? We count rounds. And most of us, we chant 16 rounds every day. And if we chant swiftly, it takes something like 2 hours, little more, little less. And if we multiply that by 4, then it becomes 64 rounds. And 64 rounds, so you can consider it takes around 8 hours. A little more, a little less, if you can do it. And then 64 rounds, that is around 100,000 names. 100,000 names. So if you multiply this by 3, then you have, from remembrance, 192 rounds. And so you take 8 rounds for 64. You take 8 hours for 64 rounds. So how many hours you need for 192 rounds? Any mathematicians here? Yes, you need 24 hours. So if you need 2 hours for 16 rounds, then you need 24 hours for the amount of rounds which Srila Haridas Thakur chanted every day. So he would chant every day, all day long. And we can estimate that he was very experienced and he was I guess he had a flow, and so he took less than 24 hours, but not much less. So basically he was chanting Hare Krishna all day long. And he was certainly experiencing great pleasure and satisfaction. And he was having he was not just suffering from his practice. He was happy. So even eating and sleeping, they just get lost. And then Srila Haridas Thakur, once he was chanting in one place, in I guess somewhere in Bengal, or nowadays maybe in Bangladesh also. And there was one, and Srila Haridas Thakur, there's a whole story, of course, also, but there was one regional governor, and he was envious of Haridas Thakur, and he desired that this he was hoping to dishonor this great personality, and because for a spiritualist, it is the highest thing to be above sexual attraction. So and Srila Haridas Thakur, he was a declared renunciate, which means that I am done with this material world, and no family life, no sex life, no intimate association with women, and I just give my life to this chanting of the names of God. And then, so if you want to dishonor such a person, you make him engage in sexual activity. So then this governor, he found one prostitute and instructed her and convinced her to go to this personality, Srila Haridas Thakur, and induce him for a sex life. And then the idea was that he will then come with his men and they will be witness, and then the reputation of the saint is pulled down. So this young lady, she approached Haridas Thakur in the evening, and she expressed her proposal that I can be here for you. and Srila Haridas Thakur, he has a vow, he has to chant. so he told her that that's all right. In a moment I can be with you, but first I have to finish my vow. So he was chanting his japa. He was chanting, and young lady, she was waiting, but he was chanting and chanting and chanting all night long. And then in the early morning, she had probably fallen asleep a few times, and she was just sitting there and waiting and waiting. And then the morning was coming and the sun was going up, and Haridas Thakur told her, I'm very sorry, I could not finish my rounds yet. So you can come again tomorrow, today evening. And then and then she did that. She came back, and he said, all right, you're there, I will just finish my rounds. And then it was the same thing again. She was waiting all night long, and then again next morning she had to go. And then the third night she was determined, so she came a third time, and then the same game again, and same thing again happened, and he was chanting. And then at some point, because what happens, not only if we chant Hare Krishna, but also if we hear Hare Krishna, we become purified. So at the end of the third night, this young lady was completely transformed, because all the time she had listened to this Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Srila Haridas Thakur praying to the Supreme Personality of Godhead with determination, with his full heart, and thus his heart was full with love and strength and spiritual potency, and that heart was sitting next to this young lady. And so this young lady, she became very much, how to say? Very transformed, completely transformed. And after the third night was over, she told him everything, that she was actually brought there by this governor who was envious, and that actually she very much regrets that she took part in this, and she fell at his feet, and she regretted very severely what she had tried to do. That she understood that actually this was very degraded, very sinful, very low. So, and then Srila Haridas Thakur, he said, devotees, when they become advanced, they also, to some extent, they will develop mystic ability. So Srila Haridas Thakur, upon hearing everything that she had said, he said, I know already, I know everything. And I could have just left, but I stayed here just for you, for your benefit. And then he instructed her, and she also wanted instruction. So he became her guru, spiritual master. And then she she was initiated into the chanting of Hare Krishna, and she took up the same practice which he was doing, chanting 300,000 names every day. And no more prostitution. So the prostitute was no more. That was external designation, and it's gone. So, and she became a saint like him. So this is how, and we may not have this experience so much yet, we may not be so much above. No? Eating is also a symptom of lust, or the desire to eat a lot. That's also a symptom of lust. So we may still struggle with that a little bit. But personally, I notice when I have finished my 16 rounds in a day, I don't feel like eating so much. I feel very much more satisfied, peaceful, and less engaged with this external dimension. And then also lust for the opposite sex. It just, as we said in the beginning, it's just it's out of the mind when we chant enough and nicely. Or other kinds of devotional service done properly. So that is lust. We become freed from that. Then lust, Vita, Raga, Bhaya, fear, as Mataji mentioned. The most extraordinary and extreme example which I could think of is our dear Prahlad Maharaj, who is personally present here, and his story is such that his own father became his worst enemy, and the worst thing an enemy can try to do is to kill you. So Prahlad Maharaj, his own father, became his determined enemy, and he tried to kill him again and again and again and again. So that scenario would be a perfect theme for a horror movie. You can imagine nothing more horrible. A small 5-year-old child, and the own father tries to murder him in one way, in another way, in another, and tries again and again and again. And we would think that the horror movie goes like this, that the small child will just all the time run away and be frantic and be traumatized for the rest of life. So Prahlad Maharaj, he was different. Whatever they brought before him, tried to kill him with that, he was just completely peaceful, and his internal mood basically was just, Krishna, I'm yours, whatever you like, your will shall happen. And nothing happened to him, because Lord, he likes his devotees and he protects them. So freedom from fear, coming from Krishna consciousness, being conscious of the Lord. And there's one, I like also from the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya a few expressions of this. Once there was one exalted devotee, associate of Lord Chaitanya, and he had a great determination that I'm very humble. Devotees are very humble. Real devotees are very humble. And he had a determination, I will never accept a disciple. Never, ever. Never, ever, ever. I will accept a disciple. I'm very fallen. How can I accept anyone as a disciple? But in his heart he felt a strong calling that, because the Lord is situated in our heart, he tells us, do this, don't do that. So the Lord, in the heart, he very strongly emphasized, you should take some disciples, you should accept. And then also externally it was confirmed by Lord Chaitanya himself, you should accept it, or I don't remember, maybe his own spiritual master or someone told him that you should have at least one disciple. And then he finally agreed, okay, I surrender. I have to accept one disciple, make one disciple. The first person whom I meet today, I will make him my disciple. And then he went to take his bath. And then one person was floating by. And he said, oh, this is my disciple. He's coming. But guess what? That was a dead body. So it went like that. But he said, I have to accept him. And he touched him. And because he was so powerful and empowered, then by his touch, the person came back into the body. The person came back into the body. And I don't remember the name of the guru. I also not sure. I think his name was Murari Chaitanya Das. That was the name of that person who was brought back into the body after he had practically left it already. And And then this Murari Chaitanya Das, as far as I remember, that is his name. He was so fearless that in Bengal there are tigers in the jungle, and I don't know how many tigers are still there, but 500 years ago many tigers were there in the jungle. And this Murari Chaitanya Das, he would be in the forest and he would slap the tigers into the face and tell them, chant Hare Krishna. So fearlessness. And also we remember that Lord Nityananda, who was happiness personified, spiritual ecstasy personified, he was living also at the bank of the Ganga, and he would jump into the Ganga sometimes and fight with the crocodiles. So that was Lord Nityananda. And another expression of fearlessness which was exhibited by Lord Chaitanya, the father of the chanting of Hare Krishna, was that when he began to express his ecstasies, he would basically, people were thinking that he was mad, and sometimes he would stay with his mother, and they had a house, of course, and they also had a yard, a garden, and in the gardens sometimes we have trees. So Lord Chaitanya, he would climb into a tree and sit on the branch on the tree, some area above the ground, and then he would just, like just for a joke, he would close his eyes and he would let himself fall from the branch, and he would fall on the ground, and everyone thought, "Oh no, what is happening? Nimai!" And they would think that all his limbs were broken, but somehow nothing happened. So Lord Chaitanya also, he expressed fearlessness like that. So fearlessness coming from devotional service. One personal experience which I remember is that I had somewhat a bad day, and my mind was disturbed, and I was grumpy. I was thinking bad about everyone around, which is very dangerous, but at least I didn't. I cannot remember expressing anger with anyone externally, so I was not taken over too much, but I was very disturbed in my mind. The day, different things went wrong somehow. I don't remember what. And then on that afternoon we went for a Harinam in Passau, chanting in public, and like we sit in the car here, and we go off to Passau. It takes around 30 minutes, and as we were driving, I was thinking, actually this is not good. I'm imbalanced. I need some rest. I need some peace. And now here I am. And maybe I had promised, I don't know. Somehow I joined that Harinam, and then we came out there, and because I felt so internally disturbed, I didn't feel like a devotee. I felt like insecure and doubtful, doubts, and I was feeling so uncomfortable in front of all these people who are very convinced. In the city, then in Passau, all the people they are very convinced of their different types of Maya, sense gratification, and who am I? I feel insecure. I feel somewhat ashamed. I'm wearing this dhoti, and everyone will look at me. And I don't like this. So, but I had already joined, so what to do? And then my godbrother, actually, he was then leading the kirtan, and he was playing. We had brought a small harmonium, which he was carrying around his shoulders. He was playing, and he was singing very sweetly, and also with great enthusiasm. And we just walk around in the city of Passau, and singing, and I'm there anyway, so no matter my condition, what can I do? I have to join. I have to. There, when you as soon as you're in the city with mundane people around, there's no question of doing anything else but Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So I just stay with the devotees and join the chanting. And then I don't remember. I just remember that from one moment to the next, like my mood was just. That's again like. And my mood was just completely changed, and I was happy and ecstatic. I started to dance and sing, and I didn't care anymore about what people think about me at all. Like, it was just gone. So so that was the liberation through chanting Hare Krishna. Fear and anger. Vita, raga, bhaya, krodha. So anger is a whole thing. I have to admit I didn't think about that before, and also our time is continuing. So anger is also dissolved through the process of devotional service. Yeah. And I mean, we see that in great devotees who don't take offense. They don't become angry with others. No, in the Bible it is recorded that Jesus Christ, he was put onto a cross, he was nailed onto a cross, and so intense experience for the gross body, and he was not angry. He was praying to the Lord, "Dear Lord, please forgive them. They don't know what they are doing." If there is anger, you cannot pray like this. No, he was just the same persons who were hurting him severely. He was praying, "Dear Lord, please don't do anything to them. Don't give them any sinful reactions. Just forgive." So forgiveness. We can see in our own life, are we ready to forgive? If we are ready to forgive others for their shortcomings, that means we are free from anger. If we cannot forgive generously for whatever disturbances others create in our life, it means we are angry. Ultimately, we are angry. We may hide it from ourselves even, or we may not be conscious of it. Basically, a material condition means our bad qualities, they are inside, and we're in the subconsciousness. We are not always conscious. But if we cannot look at everyone around with well-wishing mood, that means we are angry. It means we are angry. Otherwise, why would we not be positive towards others? Why not? It is so much more pleasant to be positive. So if we are free from anger, then why not just be positive? That's the soul. That's us. We are positive. So if we are not positive and well-wishing towards others, it means that we're angry. It means that we're covered by anger. So, yes, anger. Prahlad Maharaj here also has that mood. There's one very beautiful prayer in Srimad Bhagavatam, and it's Prahlad Maharaj is praying, and he's not praying for himself, he's praying for everyone. That in itself shows his freedom and magnanimity. So he's praying, Svastyastu Vishvasya, may the whole universe be blessed. May there be auspiciousness for everyone in the whole universe, all living entities, not my family, not my village, not my country, not this planet, no, the whole universe. May there be auspiciousness. Kala prasidatam, may all envious people be pacified. All those who are angry, let their anger cool down. We wish that for everyone. That is the mood of Prahlad Maharaj. Jayantu Bhutani Shivang Metodia. Let everyone consider each other's well-being. That's the practical result of freedom from anger. Let everyone consider each other's well-being. And how does that work? Then again, it works by devotional service. He's saying, Manascha Badrang Patatata Dokshati. Let the mind be peaceful in the worship of the transcendental personality of Godhead. Anyway, the last Sanskrit I don't remember, and so like that. So Prahlad Maharaj is praying like that. So yes, so we can become free from those things if we take devotional service seriously. If we are not experiencing as much as we are not experiencing those things practically, that means we are not yet engaged in devotional service nicely. So either we are not doing it at all, or we're doing it insufficiently or improperly. So, and I was meditating about this a lot, but and there's also many practical things. You can look at the Nectar of Instruction of Rupa Goswami. Rupa Goswami tells 6 things which destroy bhakti. They destroy bhakti. They destroy your happiness of heart. They destroy your ability to become liberated. And so whenever you experience any problem, you can look at this one verse, 6 things which destroy devotional service, and you can analyze what have you done wrong, and how can you overcome that? How can you avoid that? That is desirable. Especially here in this place, we do all the positive things already. Everything, if you just join the program, in one sense your life is perfect. There's nothing, your life is perfect. But if we don't experience this as a pleasure, then we should have a look at what am I doing wrong. So, because as soon as we do it properly, immediately, all the bad things, they go out. So, like that. And yes, Vitaraga Bhaya Krodha. And as much as we are freed from those things, then Krishna is saying, Manmaya Mamupashrita. Then it becomes then there will be a conscious and voluntary and natural. Then it will become very natural to surrender to Krishna and to take shelter of Krishna. When we are liberated from those things, all these, then our natural self will come out so easily, and we will become so joyful in our relationship with Krishna himself. We will find it easy to relate to him. So, and let that be the last word. And Krishna is saying in that Bhagavad Gita verse, Bahavo Jnana Tapasa Puta Matbhavam Agata. So that is the last thing. The last thing which we get from devotional service is love of God. The first thing we get is freedom from suffering. And then there's others in between. The last thing, actually it says, Krishna, he becomes attracted by our devotional service. Devotional service is Krishna Akarshani. It attracts Krishna. And Srila Prabhupada said, if you chant 16 rounds every day, if you keep away from meat eating, illicit sex life, gambling, intoxication, if you do that very nicely and you chant nicely, you will see God in this life. And you will not see him because you have conquered him, you will see him because you have attracted him. So that is the opportunity we are given, and we have to do it very nicely. And to get the full result. So, and in comparison to that, mukti, liberation, it's like, that's not so important. I don't care about liberation. The pure devotees, they pray like this: I don't care about liberation. I don't care about birth, death. I don't care about all the difficulties in everyday life. I want to see Krishna. I want to be in relationship with Krishna. I want to serve Krishna. Krishna is so nice. That is the higher experience. That is not about my own liberation, it is about my relationship with another person. That is more exciting, there's more life in that. Okay, we will stop here. We thank all of you for being patient with me and staying here a little bit. Maybe anyone would like to add something or ask some questions.
Thank you, Sanjay Prabhu, for a nice lecture. You talked also a lot about the chanting of the holy names, and I must confess, maybe you can help me with that lately I can't really hear the holy names, even though I try to read from Srila Prabhupada what he instructed about chanting. I even asked my Guru Maharaj if he can help me, and he suggested also something, but still it's so difficult for me at the moment, and also a lot of impurities come up. What can you say about it? What advice do you have, maybe?
I have one spontaneous thing coming to mind is You have to chant loud enough. You have to chant louder than your mind. And personally I experience this a lot, that my japa is getting stuck, like it's getting slow and heavy, and I cannot. But what helps is loud chanting, singing loudly, wild kirtan. I have to confess, I'm missing wild kirtan in this place. Every kirtan should be loud and enthusiastic. Not how to say, not grob, not gross, not harsh, not it should be an internal expression of happiness. So, but that happiness should come out. Or also simply that desperation. Srila Prabhupada, he said, mother, the chanting should be like the crying of the child for its mother. So complete dependence and complete helplessness. And if we, as much as we understand our position in this world, we will be desperate. We will be so desperate. I'm this material body, and I have to become old and suffer and die, and then have to take birth again. Srila Prabhupada even said that the suffering that a child experiences in the womb consciously, we have to experience that consciously, and we did many times, unlimitedly many times. It says that suffering is so great that if we would experience that now, we would leave the body after only a few seconds. So it's a terrible situation. We should get out of this material world, and we cannot do it. How do you want to get out? Where do you want to run? No matter where you run in your present body. You cannot get out of your body. How you want to get out of your and stay out of material bodies? What to speak of having a spiritual body? So our situation is terrible. And where is Krishna? Do you see him face to face? Who sees Krishna face to face? Yes, you see Lord Nrsingadev. Do you see that he is moving? Do you see that he is alive? Do you see? Maybe he's tapping his fingers when there's kirtan. But do you see that he is alive? Do you see? Srila Prabhupada says the deity is not a stone. Yes. Do you see it? So do we see that the Lord is personally present? Do we see him? Do we experience his association? If you don't have that experience, you should be desperate. You should cry very loudly. Advaita Acharya, he saw that all the people, they were so much absorbed in materialism, and he was so sorry for everyone, because he was perfect in devotional service, but everyone around was not. And then he started to worship the Shalagram Shila, and he started to cry for Krishna to come, please come. And it says he cried so loudly that the calling it went through the shells of the universe. That's loud. All the demigods, they must have heard him. Up there, they don't hear us probably. So we may not call for Krishna as loudly as Advaita Acharya did, but we can follow in his footsteps. And so as loud as we can, we should cry for Krishna and call for Krishna. Please help me. Everything else is useless. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he said, there's nothing else except us and the holy name. So we should do whatever it takes to connect with the holy name. Chant loudly, chant quietly, chant alone, chant together, chant in the morning, chant in the evening, chant in the day, chant in the shower, chant while you're lying in bed, chant when you do your service. Always chant. That is what the acharyas are telling. But yeah, I don't know if this helps. It's just one practical thing, which I experience as helpful. Loud chanting. Louder than the mind. Okay. Something more? Okay. If it's all right for you, I will read one small thing, which Srila Prabhupada says, and I found it very inspiring. So, this is taken from, it's a quote from Krishna Consciousness, The Matchless Gift, which is one small book. And Srila Prabhupada is writing, a realized student of Krishna consciousness can very easily say what his next life is, what God is, what the living entity is, and what his relationship with God is. His knowledge is perfect because it is coming from perfect books of knowledge such as Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. This then is the process of Krishna consciousness. It is very easy and anyone can adopt it and make his life perfect. Now, if someone says, I'm not educated at all and I cannot read books, or I'm thinking that if you stay here for 1 month for Bhakta program and somehow Munindra Prabhu, he's trying hard to explain everything to you, but somehow there are so many things you don't understand even after 4 weeks, then he is still not disqualified. So there is still hope. He can still perfect his life by simply chanting the Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna has given us a tongue. Krishna has given us. And 2 ears. Krishna has given. And we may be surprised to know that Krishna is realized through the ears and tongue, not through the eyes. So we will see Krishna with our ear and tongue. I found that very interesting. So, yes, let us continue and let us pray that soon the day comes that freedom from suffering is not important anymore. I don't care about anything. I want my relationship with Krishna. And I will see him very soon, and I will have an active experience of his association, and I will do things for him, and I will live with him like that. Okay. Samaveta Bhaktavinda ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki. Shri Nrsimha Bhagavan ki jai.